The purpose of this video is to remind you about the parts of an intro paragraph. For homework tonight, you'll be revising your intro paragraphs in your outlines in order to prepare for your timed write. So whatever notes are helpful to you in this video, you should pause the video at any time and take notes in your notebook. To start off with the anatomy of an intro paragraph, remember that we start with the hook, which is the most general. You'll be making a statement here that captures the attention of your reader and says something general about the world or the themes that are mentioned in the poem. Then we'll get to the bridge, which is getting a little bit more specific. See how the triangle is narrowing. You'll be getting more specific, maybe even mentioning the title of the poem, connecting you from the general statement of your hook, connecting you to the very specific statement that is your thesis. So the thesis is the most exact and the most specific statement of your intro paragraph. Is going to tell your reader exactly what the essay is about. So your theme, the two literary elements that you're using will be mentioned in the thesis. So again, we're going from most general to most specific. If this is a reminder to you, you should take this down in your notebook so that you can be sure. I'm going to remind you again about the three parts. Your hook, grab your reader's attention, but don't do it by mentioning something random. Your hook should be connected to a theme in your thesis. You'll see what I mean in just a second when I show you some examples. Bridge, connecting, like I said, the hook and the thesis. The most common error that I'm observing in your writing with the bridge is that people are using this space to kind of insert random facts about the poet or saying random things about the poem. The bridge is supposed to connect you from the general statement, that's your hook, all the way to your thesis, which is something really specific about the poem. So you should introduce the specific poem. The bridge is a nice space for you to introduce the poem's title. And then the thesis, the most specific statement telling you exactly what the essay will be about in one sentence, containing the theme and the two literary elements that you are writing about. Okay, let's move on to some examples. You should pause the video here if you are needing to take this down. Note the colors here. I've color coded the examples that we'll take a look at in just a second. Okay, so here we are with our first example. We have here the hook highlighted in pink. In the depths of the sea lived a strong soldier who fought to survive his whole life, a tuna fish. So this is a pretty dramatic hook. It's still connected to what the poem is about, but it catches our attention with words like strong soldier and this topic of fighting to survive his whole life. So it's still general enough, and it gets more specific as it goes. Ode to a Large Tuna in the Fish Market, written by Pablo Neruda, is an ode that shows us the tragic life of a tuna fish. So we're getting more specific. This sentence is more specific than this more general hook that we started off with. Like I've suggested, the title of the poem is also mentioned in the bridge, so we're getting more specific, we're narrowing. And then we've got the thesis. Neruda uses the literary elements personification and tone, our two literary elements, in order to deliver the theme that even those who fought the toughest battles end up in the same place as those who didn't fight at all. Okay, so this person is following pretty perfectly here this narrowing from the hook, most general, to the bridge, getting more specific, all the way to the thesis, exact and very specific. So take a look at a second example. This person wrote a much shorter intro paragraph, but it still gets the job done. They've got all three parts. With life, there is also death. Something that's really strong about this hook is the syntax. The sentence is just really short. And because the sentence is short, it captures your attention. With life, there's also death. Kind of makes you stop and think about that statement. It's also a very general statement. It's talking about life and death, which is very general. Then the writer gets more specific. The poet creates a specific theme regarding death, but uses a slightly amusing poem about a tuna fish to express his theme. Beautiful bridge here. The writer is connecting death from their hook something more general. And then the writer gets more specific by saying that the writer uses a slightly amusing poem about a tuna fish to make that happen. The writer finishes it off with a very clear and specific thesis. Pablo Neruda uses the literary elements, symbolism, and metaphor to support the theme that even the greatest of the great die. Beautiful. This is a nicely done intro paragraph. The only thing that I would add to this intro paragraph is the title. The title of the poem is missing, but other than that, this is a very strong intro paragraph. Okay, let's take a look at our next one. This one is a slightly longer intro paragraph, but it still gets the job done. This person also starts with a question, which we haven't seen from our other examples. A hook can begin with a question about something general in life, which this person has done. Have you ever felt hopeless? Like, what's even the point of trying anymore? Very relevant hook. This hook captures a reader's attention because it asks questions about general humankind. These are the themes that are universal, that are very general. The poem Ode to a Large Tuna in the Fish Market by Pablo Neruda was made to say, fight even though the fight is impossible. Beautiful. Again, we've got the title here in the bridge. They've connected what they were kind of talking about in the hook, but they're saying that Pablo Neruda is answering that question in his specific poem. Nice bridge. All to lead us to the specific thesis, which says that Pablo Neruda uses the literary elements personification and figurative language to support the theme of, even though the people who fought the hardest end up in the same place, even the people who fought the hardest end up in the same place as those who didn't fight at all. Okay? So what's strong here is that the theme is talked about, it's addressed in the hook. We see the same in all the examples, that the theme is addressed in the hook. The theme here is addressed in the hook. And you'll see that this is exactly why I've asked you to think about your thesis first, to have your thesis with your theme and literary elements first before you start writing your hook, because your hook should be about your thesis, not just a random topic. Hopefully this video will help you to write and revise your intro paragraph tonight. Good luck.